See here. Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? Just doing a random live, as I do. That one. As always, I'm just hanging out, seeing who's around. If you guys have got questions or if you want to chat or, let's see what comes up. YouTube on a YouTube live. If you want to join me. That's quite bright. Let's pull it down a notch. Now it's a bit dark. Okay. Yeah, so what's everyone been doing? What's everyone been doing? Hey, what's happening? Just hanging out here as I do. It's getting quite dark again, isn't it? It's just... Oh, there we go. What's happening? Just trying to share this with a couple of people. Cheers, everybody. I hope you're all well. Lovely to see us. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, I won't be putting the music on this time. I think it interferes with the audio stream. Unfortunate. I even got the bandwidth jacked up on the internet plan, so we could maybe fix some of any potential live streaming issues. But I guess it just depends on what time of the day it is. All the kids have just finished school, and so they'll all be at home on the internet right now. So can you let me know in the chat if you're there? If you could, let me know what the audio's like. Am I too loud? Am I too soft? Just want to get my natural voice level right. And sometimes it changes depending on, I don't know, internet activity perhaps. But other than that, what's everyone up to? What are you guys doing? It's Friday afternoon here in New Zealand, in Auckland. It's a stunning day outside. I've been out for a lovely walk. We have in my family's, we own my family, my bigger part of the family. We have a little mall in our local village, and there was the old butcher shop, which has been there for over 100 years, was turned into a plant-based cafe a few years back. Pretty wild, huh? A butcher turned into a vegan kitchen and cafe type scenario. That's quite bright. Let's pull that back a bit. Hang on. That might be a bit better, but easier on your eyes. And so Oh, and so they're actually closing down today, which is a bit unfortunate. And that's okay. That's okay. And so I went in there to say see you later. A lovely lady who set it all up, and she's put some serious work into this building because it was a butcher shop for over 100 years, right? And so she stripped it all back and scraped the walls, and oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe it, right? I don't know how she got the smell out, but she did. And yeah, she's closing down today. So I went in there and she shouted me a free coffee. Thank you. Decaf with oat milk, please. Thank you so much. And it was beautiful. But yeah, just go for a walk around the village and enjoy the sunshine and the smiles. I've got to say, it's so lovely that it's getting warmer here and the sun's coming out a bit more. We've had some pretty wild weather here. It's really turbulent weather, and it affects a lot of people. It affects me. You know, even with all the training that I do, it still blows you around a bit. I'll put it like that. It's very abrupt, very jarring. The changes in the temperature and the air pressure, and one day it's just really windy, and the next and wet and cold, and then yeah, today it's beautiful. It was really cold today this morning though when I got up. But yeah, anyway, cheers. Late afternoon coffee. Oh, yay for Fridays, guys. So what's everyone doing? Oh, got a couple of comments here. Oh, thank you. Yes, you're absolutely right. Lovely to see you, Demeter. Thank you, sir, for joining us in, sis. Joining with us, sis. Yeah, she did. It was really great, actually. It was such a nice little cafe. You know, the original mission of the cafe wasn't actually a cafe. She was setting up a kitchen because she was making like plant-based cakes and things like that, and snack bars and all these types of things. And she would sell them to corporate clients, and so it was it had a high price point. And selling savory food out the front of the store was a secondary thing. It wasn't the core business, but yeah, she's going to have a break, and that's cool. She lives down the road here, and I think in Highland Park somewhere, and so yeah, it's a bit sad to see her go, but such is life. But thank you for joining us, Demeter. Lovely to see you here. Mm. Yeah, you've got it right there. I'm not too happy. 4 seasons in one day. Yes, absolutely. That's Auckland all over. Like I tell people from around the world, Auckland's like on this strip of land, and it's got these two bodies of water on either side. And it gets pretty warm up here in the summer too. Go further north, it gets much warmer, and you know, it's probably just what we're used to. But yeah, the weather gets especially during the change of season, it's nuts. It's especially nuts, and um, during the switch from winter to summer, the spring is just that's where we're at right now, and it's not very comfortable actually. So yeah, just trying to get a nice. I'm just going to bring up one of Demeter's comments again. Let's do that. Just trying to find a nice background style. Just can't seem to win with this. That one there. That one will have to do. All right, that one will do. Oh my gosh, yes. She did some pretty amazing things with food, actually. Um, I was very impressed with some of the food there. I have to say there were some moments where I wasn't impressed, but you know you get that wherever you go. But I remember having I think it was like it was a salad, and it was full of stuff. You know, it was awesome. This food was not cheap, but it didn't matter because you know you're sitting on the main street, right out the front. Like the real estate positioning is far out. And the thing is that tenancy area and that part of Howick, because my family's the landlords. I know that it's not that expensive. In fact, if anyone's looking for anyone in Howick or in the surrounding areas looking for a shop opportunity, it'd be a good choice. But yeah, I really enjoyed the place. I wish I'd gone in there more. I must say I did struggle a bit with I don't know, when I go into a cafe, I normally go in to do writing and reading and chill out and that, and the music was a bit fresh for me, but the coffee was. I would say that she probably had the best coffee in town from all the places I went to, and I've been to a few coffee places, and I like good coffee, and that coffee I had today was just spot on. So yeah, what's been happening? Well, I wrote an article today. I was inspired to write an article, and it's called "Misdirected Anger When the Fire Element Runs Amok." And I don't really try and craft my blogs. It's more I haven't written one for a while, and I was sort of giving myself. I was been a bit confrontational with myself last night because, you know, I haven't been plying my blog writing skills for a while, and I think I personally, take it or leave it. I've got the ability to output some meaningful content in various forms, and I haven't done the writing expression for a while, and so I sort of thought, well, let's do it. And I was inspired this morning. I had a friend I was talking to, and I thought I'd write a blog, and that expanded, and it does change. I think one thing that's the thumbnails on my videos and the titles of my blogs and videos sometimes don't necessarily reflect the entirety or encapsulate the nature of the content. But that's okay. I'm trying to craft a bit of an adventure for whoever's checking it out, and I'm grateful for you guys for coming on and doing that sort of thing. So yeah, thank you for everyone who's watching this. If you're watching it now or afterwards, I went for a trip to the library today, and I know I've brought these two books out before, but these are these two fantastic Reiki books. This one here's a new one by Franz Steiner, and this one by Nicholas Pearson. And I don't know. I just felt like I keep them handy as reference books because they are just excellent books. And for those who are interested in Kotodama, Kotodama or Tama, Kotodama. Those of you who are maybe practicing Barden's or the Germanic Kabbalah system, as you'll hear people like Bob from 60 Skills talk about a lot, and we talk about a lot here on this channel too, is that book has got references to how Kotodama, which is essentially the spirit of the word in Japanese. Wait a minute, what? Yes. And they use vowels for the elements, and there's 5 of them. And I've talked about this before, but essentially there is when you're doing a bit of sort of comparison of systems and you're looking for those common threads, there's going to be times where there's no direct relationship and it's a little bit open to speculation. But sometimes there's relationships that just get you to hang in there because it's like, oh, that's too close. There's too much similarity there. So it keeps you looking. Now, what's the time here? Okay. Yeah, so I've been just sort of rereading some of that, and they're not necessarily written by people with the understanding like this, the types that we talk about, like the Mark Rasmus, Franz Barden, Bob Smith, Jake Green, or these the current teachers who are talking about these things, people you'll find in Perseus, and that it's definitely more of a it's an exoteric form of esoteric practice in some ways. It's a lot of probably conversation as opposed to sort of real understanding of the mechanics. But that's okay because those two books are pretty damn thorough. Like the Nicholas Pearson one, like I think he's got a PhD in I'm sure, is it a PhD? Maybe not a PhD, but he's got I think he's a qualified geologist or something like this. Like he's got a pretty high academic achievement, and because he talks about crystals a lot, he's written several books on crystals. But that book is so well written. That's this one here, Foundations of Reiki Ryoho, which is just the first 2 degrees of Reiki, which is Shoden Nokuden. Because I tell you what, people are just not really satisfied, I think, with the sort of the more popular understandings of Reiki. There's a lot. It's even problematic to call it Reiki because it's a catch-all phrase that attracts all of the, the best and the worst of it, or the diluted and the watered down versions. And I was talking to a mate who's a practicer and a teacher that the other night, been practicing Reiki for many years, and we sort of try. We have to have a bit of a vent sometimes, but we were sort of lamenting the sort of where it's gone and what it's become and how it's sort of become. It's essentially about energy, isn't it? But it's about the energy that we can command. And so what's happened is that in a lot of cases, people are bringing in external implements, which is fine, crystals and things like that or whatever, but chakra system and all that. But it's not really a sui proper, if you will. And that's okay too. But yeah, as far as like the relationship to sort of Barden's Key to the True Kabbalah goes, the fact that Kotadama uses the letter U for the void, and so does Barden. What's interesting is that in Kotadama, the letter E is the fire element, I is earth, A is space, which is air, and O is the water element, which is that's interesting because if you think about how Japanese pronounce almost sounds like a w, doesn't it? Which is a water element in the Barden system. Anyways, still playing around with it. Well, what's interesting in the Bardens and the Kotadama system, because there's a great book by William Gleason, who was I believe he was a student of Ueshiba Morihei Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido. He wrote a book on Kotadama, and he goes into a lot more detail, but it's still very kind of mythical and philosophical. Is that the word? It kind of he sort of reiterates the sort of the cosmology, or like a very metaphorical kind of like many of the teachings will sort of seem a bit strange maybe to people from an English speaking background. There's lots of metaphor and and this isn't derogatory or anything. It's flowery language because it's to bring you to understanding. It uses examples that people can relate to. But if you're not from that sort of cultural context, there may be a relationship to those words and those items and those things that are unfamiliar. And so you might not get the full kind of well-rounded understanding. But yeah, so what's happening out there, everyone? Some pretty wild stuff going on. So yeah, cheers, everyone. Now, I just want to say that I had a I had a cool idea the other day, and I mentioned it in the last live stream, but the last live stream is a bit hard to listen to because I tried playing around by adding in some music. And yeah, the music sort of made it hard for you to hear my voice. But I've had an idea to maybe host some, maybe, enough of this maybe stuff, uh, to host some test your psychic skills, basically, which might be quite fun. And so I've just been playing around with making some games for you guys that we can do some interactive kind of exercises here on YouTube. And basically, we'll set it up so that you can just come hang out for maybe half an hour, and I'll run you through some basic exercises that you can do to test your current base level of. It's about, ideally it's our ability to make correct guesses. Let's measure our ability with guess making rather than, say, calling it predicting the future or things like that. Um, this is about sort of, finding out, experiencing success and discovering, where we're at. And part of that process is that I'll take you through a bit of a guided meditation just to help you sort of find a bit of a sweet spot if you're not sort of there already. Mainly because, people are going to be coming from all sorts of situations, and so we want to kind of all just tune in a little bit. So yeah, that might be quite fun. Okay. But yeah, outside of that, oh my gosh, what a week. What a week. Love to hear what you guys are up to. Did anyone see the release of June Prophecy? There's a new TV show out based on the books, based on the movies. And it's on, I think the next one's on the 24th. So that's like a Sunday. It's like a Sunday night here in New Zealand. So it'll probably be the following day, actually. But yeah, it was quite a long show. It was about an hour, and and far out. They spared no expense with the graphics and the production. My gosh, it was impressive. It was very impressive. It was a bit brutal too, actually, but you kind of expect a little bit of that. And yeah, it. I found it to be somewhat reminiscent of the Wheel of Time, if you've seen that TV show, and also The Witcher, especially the last season. All three of these shows seem to be tending to revolve around basically a female heavy mages guild type scenario but they basically they're involved and they're sort of pulling the strings from the background. And so they're the recognized magic practices, and they accompany leaders. Each leader has one of these mages assigned to them, if you will. In June, they're not really mages. They're called, what are they, truth seers. And so they're used in negotiations and things like that. So they're like telepaths and that, but essentially they serve the duke or the ruler or the person that they've been assigned to. But they have their own little games going on in the background. And I was just curious because, it was very good. Some of it was, I mean, any kind of modern TV shows and that nowadays tends to be a little bit of insertion of current day goings on, and especially when we're talking about big studios, they have got a lot of pressure to put on them to essentially sort of include certain themes, and so it tends to be the problem is that when those themes start to override the storytelling aspect of it, that's where it's a bit of a shame, really, because it's like we need to push this idea out there at the expense of the substance of the conversation, of the story, of the world building, of the character building. And that's unfortunate because, it switches a lot of people off. And it seems to be happening more and more. But I have to say, I did enjoy the recent episode, of the pilot episode, if you will, of June Prophecy. Benny Gesserit, that's it. Thank you, brother. Great to see you, Will. Thanks for joining in, brother. Great to see you. And yeah, it was very obvious, actually, very obvious that they were kind of, yeah, I've just seen this across a few different shows, that's all. And that's okay. Because there's certainly plenty of feedback out in the world from people who are not for it. Oh my gosh. Dudes and dudettes and wherever and however and whatever. Has anyone seen the new, was it called Unification 765874 or whatever? It's a Star Trek short film, and it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's got starring William Shatner, and it's all very heavily remastered, and the actors have been de-aged, but it's absolutely incredible. It's next level. Have any of you guys seen it? I'll see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. I don't think the sharing's not that great on this, so I'll just do. Here we go. Okay. It's you go to the YouTube. Hang on, brother. I'll just pull this up. Oh, this doesn't. Can you see me? I'm over here still, man. Hang on, we'll put it here. All right, here we go. And I'll just turn the sound down. This is just the teaser. That wasn't that great, but it was still all right. I've got yeah, there's a whole bunch of it. So if you go to, it's called OTOY, and it's on. Or if you go to my Facebook, I actually shared it on my Facebook. So look up, go find me on Facebook, Phil Rice, and you can just follow me. I don't think you need to friend me unless you want to. I don't friend everybody, but yeah, you can go in there and check it out. But yeah, it's next level. It's absolutely next level, and there's no dialogue in it. There's nothing said, and it's just so beautiful. It's actually just beautiful. And the Critical Drinker just did a short video, like a 6-minute video talking about it, and you can hear it in his voice, like it was just because the Star Trek that's been coming out lately has been pretty heavily laden with themes and things, and they've sort of stepped away from maybe what people of original series and things, the fans were. Things have sort of drifted away a little bit, and they're I guess they're experimenting and trying different things out as well. But this was just a return to form, in a sense, of a beautiful. It was almost like the send off that we've been waiting for Spock and William Shatner and Kirk, and it's just like when you look at it and you see the level of the production, it's very hard to not be impressed by it. So yeah, I thoroughly recommend it. It's called Unity 765874, and I'm not sure why, but this whole OTOY thing is pretty amazing. And yeah, the quality of the rendering is just, yeah, it's next level. It's it's so impressive, and it's just an absolute pleasure uh, to watch something that's been crafted with such care, attention to detail, and they really care about the property. And William Shatner lent himself to do it. He stars in it, and who's the other guy? Sam Witwer. I think he's been in a few shows too. I think he was the guy from The Force Unleashed, the Star Wars game, and also he was in Battlestar Galactica. I think he's in it. He's like playing a basically like a body double, and they superimpose Shatner's face over the top. He's a bit of a fan of the series, I believe. But yeah, just absolutely beautiful. So if you get a chance to go and check it out, I'll add it. I'll show you again. OTOY. This is the company, I guess, or the YouTube channel that made it, and it's called 765874, and it's an amazing tribute to Star Trek, the original series, and probably even more. Because Kirk didn't die at the most glorious death, or maybe the best. He didn't have the best send off in that Star Trek Generations, even though they knew how he was. He knew how he was going to die, which was alone. But this was kind of like a bit of a shot into the afterlife, or a bit of a glimpse into the afterlife, and yeah, it was just absolutely beautiful. So check it out. Actually, I'll write it up. I'll put it on a banner on the screen here. What's it called? It's called Unification 865. 765 874 Star Trek short form. Yeah, so that's on. You can get the details on YouTube, and yeah, well worth checking out. Or go to my Facebook and just scroll through there, and you'll see it. I've shared it on there. I think if you go through this YouTube here, it doesn't actually give you, like, you have to go to one of the platforms and pay for it. But there's like somebody shared some links, like a big sites have shared links. So I'm not sure what the score is there, but somebody sent through the link to me, and it was public. But well, yeah. Anyway, it's on my Facebook. You can go check it out there. If they've changed it, then they've changed it. But so yeah. All right. I'm just hanging out, guys. I've been out and done all my things today. I've got let's see, there's some messages there. Oh, I've just been out for a walk around my local village just to see how everyone's doing. There's lots of flowers out at the moment. Lots of people grow flowers in their gardens around here. There's still an older population that likes to do gardening, and you walk around and it's just so lovely. Which is funny because today's rubbish day, and so and all the rubbish in the recycling bins are out. But yeah, it's just been really nice. And so yeah, I've done my washing, and I've still got heaps of stuff to do, but that's all good, eh? Thought I'd jump on, hang out on a Friday afternoon. I know some of you guys are in New Zealand, and you might be finishing for the day, or you're winding down. And so I thought, I'll hang out and see what everyone's up to for the weekend. Ooh, got any questions? Oh, yeah, no worries, Will. Yeah, I love Star Trek too, man. I really miss the old. I mean, the new stuff's pretty amazing to look at, but it just I just found that it's just they're inserting too many modern day themes in there and trying to push stuff down your throat. That's just my opinion. But I just love seeing. I love getting lost in a good story. One that takes me on a trip. I tell you what, I did watch the other night. I watched the three sequel movies, the sequel trilogy to Star Wars, the 7, 8, and 9. I got to say, like, the production was off the charts, but the movies were, the dialogue and the writing, some of it was just atrocious. It was atrocious, and that's okay. That's okay. What are you doing, Disney? But yeah, I think we'll see some shifts towards. I know that Marvel have been shaking up their writing, this shaking up their studio, and so the Deadpool and Wolverine may have been a hint at that, what's to come, although that's a bit of an exception in the Marvel universe, but because it's an R18 show, movie series, whatever. And you put when if you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, you'll notice that there's a fair bit of star power in that, and they're actually even mocking Disney, and which is funny because But anyways, but yeah, it's nice that there's some good things to watch at the moment. So I mean, I watched the Star Trek thing. The Dune Prophecy was really impressive, I have to say. Really engaged, love it. Lots of talking, but that's okay. It was setting it all up. You're getting an idea of what's going on, and it's certainly not unreminiscent of other themes that are being instilled into TV shows and movies and games and things at the moment. I've got to say, I've actually been fasting a little bit from listening to people talk about the current state of the entertainment pop culture arena, because it's quite taxing, actually. A lot of our big IPs are, these big studios are so casual with things. They'll build a, $100 million, $200, $300 million, whatever game, movie, TV show, and then they'll just can it and get everyone excited about it. And that's it's heartbreaking, isn't it? I mean, we're all still waiting for another Stargate. Like there was a big, deficit or a big period of time where there was no Star Wars stuff. And it's like, why wouldn't you? It's a money printing machine. Just make good stuff. Like, these IPs are the best, man. I've got to say that this new Indiana Jones game looks pretty fun. We'll see how that rolls out. I watched some of the footage of people playing the new Star Wars Outlaws game, and it looked pretty repetitive. Whatever. But we don't have to talk about pop culture, guys. We could talk about magic or meditation or healing or other things like that if you want. Oh yeah. So I've got my box of cards here. So I've got 5 decks of cards that have all been shuffled and put in here. It's something I picked up when I was studying. Like I said, at the sort of earlier in the stream, we were talking about exercises. I'm going to run I'll run a stream dedicated to doing some psychic skill exercises. Basically, let's measure your ability to make correct guesses. So let's have a go at this. So let's start off with the easiest one. All right. So if you're busy doing other things while you're watching the stream, then I'll save that for people who can. I'll save the proper one for when people can sit down and actually interact with it. But I'm just going to pull a random card. I don't know what it is. And all I want you to do is guess whether it's red or black. Okay, you don't have to put it in the comments or anything like that. Just think about it, all right, just for a sec. What's the first impression you get? If you know how to put your awareness above your head, or you build the ball and put your awareness outside your body and just occupy a bigger mental space, just do that for a moment. We'll just go na 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 na, and the answer is cool. Would have been cooler if it was the Ace of Spades, but Ace of Clubs is still pretty cool. How'd you get on? Here's another one. Red or black, red or black, red or black, red or black. No, there's no jokers in here. The answer is it's a red card. While I've been playing around with all this sort of psychic stuff back in the day, while I was playing around with it a lot, I came up with some really fun games to play. So, and I never even thought about doing it on a live stream, or, I don't, packaging up videos, I'm still got some to make, but here's the next one. Let's do this a bit differently now. Let's pick a suit. Okay. Let's pick clubs, diamonds, spades, or hearts. How'd you get on? Now, don't be put off if you're not having much luck with this, because some people have got natural talent with it. Some people are on and off with it. some people, I could say the majority over the time is that when you do these, it's good to sort of go through a bit of a process of bringing yourself into a nice sort of still state, because that little voice or that piece of information is generally quite quiet. And so the more quiet we can bring ourselves, that little voice can get a bit louder. And I don't want to give too much away because I want to save it for this maybe this little giggity gig that I'll put on for you guys, where we do exercises for about a half hour, and we just sort of get a baseline, and we'll have some metrics that you can use to sort of go, oh, okay, my psychic skills, my ability to make correct guesses is around here. And it could be based on color, it could be based on shape, it could be based on a sensation as well. And that's the kind of the next level that I want to talk about now, but I'll save it. All right, here's another one. What do we got here? Okay, let's do a quick fire one. Let's do a quick fire. All right, so I've got a bunch of them here. So I don't want you to think about it. I just want you to, like, whatever it is, the first thing that comes to your head. Let's go for red and black. All right, so red or black. All right, here's the first one. No, I can't see these. Okay, I'm not looking at them, so you're not getting a telepathic message. I'll bring them up a bit closer. Here's the next one. Remember, just tune out for a second. Put your awareness above your head or in this region here. And just breathe into that space there. This area around here. Just breathe into it. Just clear your mind. Vacancy of mind. Vacancy of mind, guys. Seems to be a popular choice, isn't it? Last one. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Look at that. We got the ace of spades on the last one. There's a bit of magic for you. So this is a good thing to play with by yourself, is to get a deck of cards and just go red or black. And I would say if you've got a few decks, mix them all up. Just use the the pip cards, which are pip cards are, like the number cards. The thing is that if you're using a single deck, you're going to know subconsciously that a particular card has already been pulled. So as you get towards the end, it's not too bad with red and black. It's not so good when you're getting to the more advanced stuff like like picking the number and the suit type of thing. But if you play with this and just warm yourself up to it with starting off on the easy level, which is just red or black, because that's like 50-50, and then go to the suits, which is going to be 25% chance of getting it right, and then of course going to the next level, which is picking the number, and then the number in the suit. You're making it harder and harder for yourself, but it's good to experience success because it can be very encouraging. Okay, let's see here. You guys want to see a magic trick? I'm going to show them just while I've got them here. I've got a magic trick I do for the kids. Not like that. Hang on, guys. I'm just about there. That's the one. Got to set it up. All right, you guys ready? I'm going to show you a magic trick. All right, so here we go. Okay, so we've got 2 red cards. Woo! You probably saw it, but anyway, do it again. You can probably see the smoke and the mirrors in the background. It's more better. It's better when it's better in person. All right, but anyway, jokes aside, when you're developing yourself, especially doing the mental training, when you're essentially, seeking to calm yourself down so that you can that little voice can come through, or those little images, or those little things, that data stream that's going to help you build your confidence. Oh, what's up, Woo Riders? DG, nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us here. Always a pleasure. Having these little games to play, it's a fun way to it's so cool. I love this. There's so many cool people that show up to these chats here. I really love it, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Playing these games are gonna, you're not always gonna be 100% correct, even if your chops are generally pretty good. Even the best remote viewers. That's why they have remote viewers in a team usually, so they can compare notes, and that's much more positively reaffirming of a I guess what you might call of a self-image that lines up with that of the reality of psychic ability, or the ability to sort of know things and receive information. Hey, what's up, Nicholas? From Uruguay. Oh my gosh, Uruguay. That is so cool. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. But yeah, having some fun ways to sort of play. Play. If you're just playing, like, okay, like I'm just going to pick it. Let's just go here. Okay, let's go straight. Let's go straight for the hard one. All right, I've got a small bunch of cards here, just normal playing cards, nothing special. Okay, I want you to pick it's either going to be an ace, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Jack, Queen, King. One of those. Just pick. You don't have to pick the suit, or pick it. I don't know. Pick a number. Pick a suit. Pick the color. Just whatever comes in. What's this one here? What do you see? Do you see some symbols on it? Are you getting any impressions? I'll just hold it here for a moment. Actually, I want it. Yeah, I'll put that there. There we go. All right. Let's see. Maybe you said, you know what? I'm going to take the easy one. I'm going to go red or black. I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the number, or the sort of the designator. Like whether it's a jack or whether it's a number, or I'm going to pick a suit. Let's see. Oh, Woo picked 4. That's a 3. Pretty close. And I think the big thing is that it doesn't matter. One thing I've picked up on is that you really want to be detached from any outcome, whether it's correct or incorrect. It's like in a lucid dream. If you get all emotionally excited about it, it can pop you out of the dream. Your emotions, when your emotional body starts getting activated, and it can sort of like block the pipe. Oh, really? Well done, Nicholas. That's well done. All right, we better do another one then. All right, here we go. But yeah, just get nice. Let's just take a few deep breaths together. Let's take 3 breaths in. Let's breathe in through the nose, breathing in, feeling our tummy expand, our rib cage opening up. Hold it and release. out through the nose, if you can. In through the nose, out through the mouth is fine too. In and out through the nose is better. Breathing in, tummy expanding, rib cage opening up, and release. One more, breathing in, hold it, and release. And just let your breath normalize. Okay. Let's pull a card. So, how do you want to play this? You want to go for the roll the hard six, as they say, and go for, I'm going to pick the number and the suit. I'm going to say it's the 3 of diamonds, for example, or the jack of hearts, or the 2 of clubs, or something like that. I'm still shuffling, okay? So, or am I just going to make it easy on myself? I'm just going to pick maybe the suit, clubs, diamonds, hearts, or spades, or maybe I'm going to make it real easy, red or black. Make it real easy. Okay. And you don't have to put it in the chat just yet. If you want, it's up to you. It's up to you. All right. Let's see. Okay. Are you ready? Here it comes. Okay. So I'll hold it for a moment. Let's go 3, 2, 1. Okay. So it's a 9. It's a 9 of clubs. Oh, a couple of people picking 7s. 7's a pretty fun number in esoterics, isn't it? It's a pretty common number. 7 days of the week, 7 colors in the rainbow, 7 notes in a musical major scale, 7 heavenly bodies, classical heavenly bodies, out to Saturn. Not including Earth, though. Isn't that interesting? 7 dwarves. All right, what do we got? See, I totally distracted you there. Quick, pick a number, pick a letter, pick a suit. Yep. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? It's another little game I'd play with people when I was taking them through this process, is I would take their mind away, take them somewhere else, and then go, oh, quick, pick one. Like now, go pick one now. Pick one now. What are you thinking of? No, that was the one I just pulled. Dude, what? You got to remember, though, there's 5 decks of cards all shuffled up here. All right, let's do another one. So, okay. When you say that, we're writers, DG, when we talk about universal law principles and these types of things, it sort of infers that there is an organizing principle at play, and there is going to be some kind of maths involved. The intelligence, things have to add up. There is a cosmic accounting process going on. And so for me, that infers that there is, numbers are, how we organize things in a lot of cases. I mean, if you look at the various throughout history, there's, even though they're quite different, like the Mayan calendar, Roman numerals, the Hebrew alphabet and the number associations with that, they all seem to have a counting system, don't they? They needed to know how many they were trying to forecast, and so they were grouping things together for trade or for forecasting or for whatever. Okay, you guys ready? Here's the next one. Just stop, think. What do we got? Queen of Diamonds. Nice and red. Nicholas, 1 to 9. It goes ace to 10, plus the court cards. Okay, now let's do it with something a bit different. Okay. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to take you to another type of conversation. What I have here is I have a tarot deck, lovely brand new Rider-Waite tarot deck. And I'm going to pick a card. Now, if you don't want to engage with tarot for whatever reason, I fully understand and respect that. But for those of you that do, I want you to remember one thing, that the modern playing deck came from the tarot deck. The Joker in the playing deck is the Fool in the tarot deck, and they just stripped out the rest of the major arcana. And they also changed the Jack in the playing deck used to be like the Prince and the Princess, or the Knight and the, what was it called? The Soldier or the Page. And different groups might say, like obviously Crowley swapped out the king for the what did you swap it out for? The king became the prince. But anyways, I'm going to hold a tarot card up. Now, this isn't so much about trying to pick the number or the suit. This is more about like what images come to mind. Are there shapes that might pop into your head? Because obviously the tarot has a lot of different colors and shapes and inferences, and this is when we start bridging into how we presume information is packaged and presented to us. Because it's like a dream, all the symbols in a dream. It's a language that is attempting to relay an understanding or an inference of information or a theme or an idea. And it's going to use different ways of doing that. It might be a feeling about it. And that's what I want you to think about here. Do you get a feeling from this card? Is it soft? Is it pointy? Is it bristly? Is it shiny? Does it smell nice? Does it have a bitter taste to it? What could that lead you to as far as understanding goes, Because information, we've got our five senses, our familiar senses, and then the sense gate of the mind as well. And how information can come to us may seem abstract and arbitrary, but sometimes what we're seeking is enveloped or dressed or attired or wrapped in something. It's something it wants us to get it right, because we have a desire, and it wants us to get it right or to be correct. But that's the limited language interaction. This is why reading lots and developing your vocabulary, also your understanding of symbols, and developing a correspondence system. Oh my gosh. Why is it? You think about that Crowley, Liber 777, and I believe Dr. Stephen Skinner has he's taken that to a whole nother level. You start building up a correspondence system in your mind, so that, information can come through and you go, oh, well, that relates to that, that, and that. And then I flip the card like I'm about to do. It's like, oh, I was thinking of something that relates to that. Now, remember, no emotional investment in the outcome. No. Oh man, I got it wrong. No. We're attempting to stay neutral through the process. This is a training within itself. Okay? Letting the emotional body just stay still. Part of the training is developing astral equilibrium. And we want to be able to put ourselves in situations that maybe before we got excited about, which is fine. But being able to be cool, calm, and collected and maintain our composure for this kind of work. All right. You guys ready? Okay. I'm going to flip this over. Now, it could be a major arcana. I didn't take them out. It could be a court card, like a king or a knight or a jack. I think it's a jack in this one. No, it's not a jack. Sorry. It's a knight, a king, a queen, or a page. Or it could be an ace, or it could be one of the numbered cards. Let's see what it says. Let's take a breath. Clear your mind. All right. Oh, there she is. Isn't she lovely? Now, for some of you, oh, there you go, Nicholas. She's got the headdress of Isis there, which is a crown, you could say. Some of you guys may have seen a camel. What? Well, this card's usually related to, like, when they cross them over with the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, is related to Gimel, the camel that crosses the desert from, what is it, Path 13, that goes up the middle of the Tree of Life. It's associated with the Hebrew letter Gimel, or the letter G. Maybe you saw a moon. It could have been the moon card too, but some of these cards share some symbolism loosely. I think this is something that kind of gets overlooked a little bit, is that there's a lot of symbolism that sort of is shared. It's kind of like if you look at the five elements system of Chinese food, with they've got wood and metal, as opposed to, say, in the other systems they'll have a four element system plus ether type of thing. But there are relationships we can find between these things. But we're not trying to be hyper specific and create clean lines. This is more about just disengaging the intellect so that information can present itself. And it's the same like with doing dream journaling as well. When you do your dream journaling, if you do dream journaling, whether you do it, just jotting down fragments to jog your recall, which is a good exercise in of itself, or you're wanting to go the other end of the stick and go super hardcore and just, like, sit there and let it all just flower open, and then you write this, you start noticing, remembering more, and you're jogging your memory. But what you're doing is that you're allowing information to come through, and you're recording it or noticing it objectively. You're not trying to label it or attach meaning to it. You're just allowing information to arise from wherever it comes from. No need to judge or try and figure it out. Let's do another one. Let's take a few breaths. So we're going to take a few breaths, and then I'm going to get you to clear your mind. So close your eyes. Breathing in the nose. If you can, nice straight back. That's good. Good to get the spine nice and straight. Crown to heaven. Feet flat on the ground. Maybe move into electrical magnetic posture. Whatever you feel. Just follow your gut on this, guys. Follow your intuition, whatever you want to call it. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in. Feeling your tummy expand, ribcage open up, and release. Breathing in. Hold it, and release. Empty your mind. All right. You ready? Oh, too bad. Here it is. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's another person card. To be fair, most of the cards in this deck have got people in them, which is actually what makes it quite an awesome deck. It's a great one for teaching people or showing people about tarot because it shows pictures of people doing things. Some decks, like I haven't got it here, but my Crowley deck is, it's mostly symbols, hardly any people in it except for some of the majors. So maybe what could you have seen? What kind of impressions may have arisen? Maybe there was a circle with some spikes on it. Maybe it was a star. Maybe it wasn't even a 5-pointed star. Maybe it was just a star. The arising information isn't necessarily going to be a literal copy or a replica or exactly like what you may think it is or what you expect it to be. This is a thing, like when you, especially with lucid dreaming, I found that when you speak to the dream environment, the dream poet, if you will, and you make a request or you command, you'll get the thing, but not necessarily always how you think you will get it. And it may not come out like you always intend it. And that gets us thinking about, what other processes are at play that may be muddying up the signal. And as we go through our meditation practice, if we just use Barden's, for example, which is definitely one of the cool or awesome and well condensed and succinct and very complete types of systems out there, we'll get our sensory perceptions becoming further and further refined, where information will become more succinct, more understandable, more cleanly presented and clear. Maybe you got the impression of a horse, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe you smelt something like wet dog hair. I'm not sure how similar dog hair and horse hair is when it's wet. Maybe there was like a mustiness. Maybe you smelt leather, the saddle. Maybe you saw something, you had an inference of shininess. Maybe there was a sense of strength. The dude's on a horse. He's rocking the night outfit. Okay. Maybe there was the inference or the impression of like stagnation or stillness or what's the word I'm thinking of? Not motion. Just staying still. This horse isn't moving. Maybe you have an understanding of what this card represents. From whatever book you've read or books you've read, you've come to your own understanding of what this card says. And there's different contexts for how this card could be understood. Maybe you had an image in your mind of an afternoon maybe, who knows? Maybe you saw a diamond. The pentacle, from what I understand and what I've read and come across, and it makes sense to me, is when it became the playing cards, the tarot became the playing cards, the pentacle is what informed the suit of diamonds. Let's do another one. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm coaching you through how to take note of things. Seriously, we dismiss a lot of valuable incoming information throughout the day. Our gut impressions, our feelings. Sometimes we eat food and it makes us feel, ugh, and that can actually cut us off as well from our gut feeling because the physiological noise is kind of like, I can't focus, or too much of my attention is on my sore gut. Let's pull another one, and then thanks for hanging out, everyone. I just want to say thank you. It's wonderful to see you all. I'm so grateful that you're here. You see across the bottom here, check out philrice.substack.com. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a coffee a month option there. Or you can just give me your email address and we can stay in touch like that too, in case for whatever reason YouTube decides to kick me off. It does happen. I've got friends who don't even talk about spicy things and they've had all sorts of problems with YouTube. But we're here and we're good. I'm going to pull another card. Okay, I want you to think about it. Let's think about it. What kind of smells? Maybe it's a spicy smell, or maybe there's no smell. Maybe it's a soft smell. Think about each one of the sense gates and how there's a wide palette of experiences that can travel through. This earth plane is like, it's pretty amazing, really. There's a lot of diversity here on the creation. What about tastes, flavors? What about sounds? What could you hear? Can you hear the wind maybe? Or maybe it's dead quiet. Maybe you can hear birds or the sound of the ocean. Maybe you can hear rain, thunder. Maybe you can hear the clouds opening up and an angel coming down with a trumpet. Maybe you can see a cube or a flower or a flower in the shape of a cube. What? That doesn't make any sense. Don't judge it. Whatever comes through, don't judge it. Whatever's coming through is coming through. It's information, it's data, it's raw data. Like I said, with the dream journaling process, when you wake up in the morning, you write down objective stuff. You don't start thinking about it. You just go, wow, that was weird. There was a chicken carrying an umbrella doing the moonwalk, and he'd just finished having a beer at a bakery while listening to Burt Bacharach. That doesn't make any sense because you want to know. You want to figure it out. We've got this desire to want to know how things work. You got to let that go. Just record the raw data, and then you pull back, and then you go, okay, here's the objective information. Now, what do you see? Oh, you ready? Blank mind. Clear all your thoughts out. Hold it. Hold that blank mind. Force that empty space. But don't hurt yourself. Push everything aside. Clear desktop. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. So we've got the 8 of Pentacles. Now, let's see here. Like I said, what we're doing is we're breaking down almost like the mental construct of what we're looking at. So this is an intellectual breakdown. So first of all, this person is a long way from the city. Here's the town here. He's out somewhere and he's working. This is where all the busyness is, but he's in the workshop. He's outside and he's getting things done. It's productivity, diligence. Prudence is another name for this card. I think in the Crowley deck it's called Prudence. So maybe it's really quiet where he is, and that's what he wants. The clothes are pretty ragged. He's a craftsman. He's not really too fussed about how he looks. He's just like, I'm here. I've got a job to do. When I'm ready to get on social media, I'll get a like a style person in or something there to help me pick some appropriate clothing to meet the aesthetic needs of the people who might be wanting to check me out. Another thing to notice is that there's quite a big empty space up here. He's not, there's not a lot of busyness going on. He's focused. He's focused on what he's doing, which is making stuff, and he has been making stuff. He's basically, his mind is clear. The gray can represent lots of things. It can represent wisdom, can represent almost like empty space. It's not a beautiful, clear day. It doesn't need to be. He's busy working. Maybe a beautiful day outside can be highly distracting, especially when you're working from home. Maybe you hear the tink, tink, tink of him, hitting the hammer on the chisel there, making the pinnacles. Maybe he's got a sore back, and you're hearing, you feel it. That's the one thing we haven't talked about. Hard work. There's a cost to that. Time. Maybe satisfaction. But yeah, feeling. That's another one. What do you feel? Can you feel the air pressure change? Nicholas says, hang on, I'll pull it up. I think there is no bell sound represented in tarot. There is a bell. It's on the. There could be another one that I haven't found. I'll show you the one. Does anyone know where there's a bell in the tarot? Bing! 5 of Pentacles. He's got one. You might not be able to see it, but he's got one hanging around his neck. That's the bell that I've seen. There could be another one in there. I think I don't think there's a bell tower. There's the moon and the tower, but I don't think they've got bells in the tower. But yeah, anyway, the purpose of this process is to sort of review how you interpret information you encounter when you start to quieten down your mind and also your emotional body as well. I mean, getting the physical body quiet is really important too. Because if you have got because physical noise like pain or stress or just pain, we call it that, physical pain or there's things going on, there's things moving around, maybe you've got a noisy stomach or something, that can be quite loud. And obviously some emotions can be quite loud as well. And so learning how to quieten these things down, that's why we do the practices in Mr. Barden's initiation into Hermetics. Learning how to concentrate the 3 bodies and develop them so that we can, straighten the pipe and, improve the signal to noise ratio. These are all kind of valuable skills because they give us access to the data, and it also helps us to refine the quality of the data, because it's like separating the wheat from the chaff. You're going to get a bundle of stuff. Here's your raw data pile, and some of it's may not initially be useful. Maybe we bring it back in later on because we are unable to perceive the value of it. But in the meantime, if you've got a noisy stomach and you've had an emotional response to something that's very distracting, or you can't focus, these things are going to get in the way. And, I think, people can experience incredibly accurate phenomena under duress, under stress as well. Don't write that off. And, that is a technique that some people use to have special encounters. But there's many ways up the mountain. And, there are things, making yourself, practicing being uncomfortable means that, things become less distracting. For example, the founder of the Asui system of Reiki, the story goes, he sat under the waterfall for 21 days and fasted. I mean, you got a freezing cold waterfall falling on your head because he's up the mountain, and I didn't even know what time of the year it was, right? And you've got this cold water crashing on top of you. I mean, that's going to be, you after a few days of that, you're going to start to become numb perhaps, or immune to the noise that it creates. And then you're fasting as well. And so you've got 2 things going on here. You think about the way that the senses will respond to that external stimulus, and your ability to sort of like become equanimous within that challenging environment basically means you can switch off under pressure. And I would understand that's, why, like, say, if you do military training, I have not. I have friends who have, and they've told me about it, and we're probably all aware of it if we've seen movies and TV shows. There's some level of accuracy there, but they put them under extremely challenging and stressful conditions so that they can operate as best as they can, cleanly and clearly under pressure. Because if you've got a war zone going on around you, you don't want to be distracted by that. You want to stay focused, right? It's the same as like, if you're a marathon runner or something, or, you're doing some extreme sport, if you want to dig deep and pull on those reserves that require deep levels of focus and concentration, you can't be getting distracted by what's going on around you. You just don't want to trip over the person in front of you or whatever's on the ground. You might be, have you ever like gone for a run or a walk or a bike ride and you're just like powering through it and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to get dizzy or I can't focus. Good. There's a good chance you're probably going to fall off and hurt yourself or do something, or you're able to focus, but your body's, I know a guy, we have a down in Wellington, which is our capital city here in New Zealand. There's a lot of hills, and they're not gentle rolling hills. They're like hills like this. I've lived up a few of those hills, and they go a long way up for a sort of a suburban area. And I remember listening to one of the boys talk about, he went up one of them called Kelson Hill, which is a pretty sizable hill. And I lived right up the top of Kelson Hill. I never rode my bike up there. I used to just I used to take it out of town to go for a ride. But Wellington's a pretty good place to go for a ride. And, but he was one of the rugby boys, and they're hard boys. This group of boys were, and they were all gym boys and all the rest of it. And you don't walk your bike up a hill. That's my rule too. If it's that bad, we'll push ourselves to our limits to get up that hill. It has to be pretty bad for you to get off your bike. He went up this hill, pushed himself, got to the top, and threw his guts out, vomited everywhere, and he said, "Yep." But he's also been trained to sort of like disregard certain types of noise and stresses so that he can stay focused on what he's doing. Because, when you're in a challenging environment, you're pulling on resources that require your ability to focus on them. And so when you get to the third book, like Key to the True Kabbalah, and you're trying to do 3-point concentration, you need all three of those parts of you to be able to focus. And so, good skills to have, especially if you're working as an energy healer. Maybe you prefer localizing your hand positions. Maybe you like to sit at the end of the table and not even stand up and move around the person. You don't have to. What I've found is that the more you do it, the less you actually need to get up. One of the people I like to listen to talk is Mark Bayersky, and he basically teaches. He says, "Look, I just sit next to their head and next to their feet. That's the whole healing session, and works great." But you might be a tarot reader or a psychic reader, or you might be a doctor or a medical intuitive, or maybe you're operating in normal society, but you're an esoteric practicer. You're a builder, and you're building a house for someone, and you want to build the best house. So you're putting love into every brick. Maybe you're doing this, that, or the other thing. Your ability to stay focused on the job at hand. If your mind is elsewhere and your heart's elsewhere, and you're physically in another place, like how does he say it? You're at a job that you don't like, and you're thinking about being somewhere else. Each one of your bodies is sort of not engaged with the current situation. So chances are of you getting your best out of yourself is going to be pretty slim. And I think that's one of the best teachings in the Initiation into Hermetics book is near the beginning, I think it's in step 1, Barden talks about, when you're at work, you're focused on work. You're not thinking about home. When you're at home, you're doing home stuff. You're not thinking about work. You clearly and cleanly separate yourself from situations that are not relevant to the current time space region, if you will, that you occupy. This is how you can get the best out of yourself. You're essentially synchronizing the 3 bodies to be all, lined up to work together. They're not working against each other. And I think this is one of the problems that, humanity's faced for a very long time, and why we don't have, some societies, people are not having any kinds of real meaningful spiritual experiences, is because they are saying this but doing that. They're not in alignment. They're leading this fractured kind of life, and it's not allowing them to sort of be completely present, because they're harboring 2 contradicting views or whatever. This could be referred to as cognitive dissonance as well. But yes, so how's everyone doing out there? Thank you so much for listening to me speak. You guys are doing all good? Well, it's nearly 5:30 here. I'd say that most people in New Zealand are probably having their probably getting ready to have dinner or finish work or have an after-work pizza. If I am not wrong, it is mentioned in food impregnation. Oh, okay. Well, food impregnation is also a very important training. So if you think about the opportunities that lay inside all of your daily activities. So let's just get that right. Oh, yeah, here we go. So it's under step 1, mental training, magical schooling of the spirit, under thought discipline. For example, we must be able to occupy ourselves no longer with the chores and annoyances of our professional life when we are at home or in our private life. And the next page over is the soul, and then the next page over or 2 is it's the same section. Yeah, it's the same section, Nicholas. So you're in the right chapter. But this is it, people are far too preoccupied. They're thinking about too many things at once, and this idea of multitasking, I would say personally that the true multitasking is 3-point concentration. That's when you're doing 3 things at once. It's kind of like when you're playing a musical instrument, this hand's doing this thing, this hand's doing this thing, and maybe you're singing and maybe you're tapping your foot. You're doing, 3 or 4 different things at once. Because your left hand is doing one type of movement, your right hand is doing a different type of movement, you're singing, which is sometimes in a different timing to what your hands are doing, and that's another very interesting conversation where you can sort of separate the layers of the activity that your various bodily functions are doing, and so I've been thinking about this too, I think there's real value if you guys are practicing initiation into Hermetics and thank you for joining us, Nicholas. A pleasure. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again next time. Stay well. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you for jumping in on the chat too. It's one thing to watch, another thing to jump in, so I appreciate that. So, but learning a musical instrument, and even several, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, one instrument's full on enough, several. I would say if you're playing a guitar, a guitar is excellent. It's easy, it's cheap to get, it's low maintenance, it's portable. You can sing with it, you can practice your vocalized, you can use it to train vocal. It's a bit hard to do that with drums, but drums have their use too, because drums engage hands and feet. Well, you can do that with guitar to a point too, but a musical instrument has, and music in general, there are a lot of analogies between that and these spiritual development practices, and they can fuel and feed each other quite nicely. And so, if you are studying and practicing Baden, then you know being able to get your hands and feet to do different things. Drums are great. Like, there's a reason. Like, Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. Whatever you think of him, personally, I'm not a huge fan of the Foo Fighters. I liked a few of their songs back in the day, whatever. But he's a good example because he was a drummer who became a guitarist, right? And I would say this to my kids as well. Like, you'll pick up skills as a drummer that will help your guitaring, and there are skills from guitar that will help you with drums. And when I went to study music, pretty much everyone there played multiple instruments. You know, everyone could play at least a little bit of the keys. Most people would be able to sing, and pretty much everyone could play guitar and play bass, especially bass. Everyone can play bass. If you can't play bass, that's a good place to start. If you have no confidence in yourself as a musician, a bass is a good place to start because it's very simple. It's basically holding down a single tone, and it's easier to learn the scale shapes. It's a lot different to a piano in that it's like and a bass is almost like a cross between a guitar and a drum kit in a sense. But you can groove on a bass in a way that's very accessible. Oh, here's Randy. Great to see you on here, man. Thanks for jumping in, bro. I appreciate you. Drums are awesome. And I know Randy personally, and he has one hell of a kit set up. In fact, he's got pretty much like a full recording rig that's pretty damn impressive, actually. Like, yeah, that's his thing, man. He's also a pretty mean bass player and guitarist and stuff too. Like, and I think he can play a bit of keys too, bro? He's a bit of an all-rounder. I know he's got some weird stuff too. You've shown me those mics that you've got and that. So, but yeah, drums are awesome. If you want to take yourself outside of your comfort zone on your current instrument, pick another instrument that you might find in a band with that other instrument. Maybe you're a guitarist and you like playing rock and pop or blues or jazz or whatever. Learn to play another instrument in that band, or go completely off the reservation, or the what is it, the off the map, and go for an instrument like I don't know, like a French horn or something. Well, that's the other thing, right? If you're learning to play a wind instrument, you have to learn how to manage your breath. Saxophone, clarinet, recorder. Oh, as a music teacher, the recorders were like the taboo. You got a bunch of, let's say you got 10 kids you're teaching recorder to, or worse, a full class of 30 kids, and they've all got a recorder. People stop using recorders in music lessons. They're an easy one to teach because they're very simple. Problem is it becomes a blowing competition, and when you've got 30 kids all trying to out volume each other or out blow each other on these friggin' recorders, oh my gosh, it will destroy everyone's hearing. So I think nowadays, from what I've seen when I was working in schools, a lot of the music teachers teach the kids how to play on things like marimbas or big glockenspiels and xylophones, just soft-toned, low-volume, round-sounding sort of instruments. Because, what are you doing, right? You're training a body mechanic, and also you're learning how to listen to what the sounds you're producing are, and you're working on technique. And you're also, at some point, you're going to start evoking a feeling as well, especially when you start maybe learning to play a nursery rhyme that your mum used to sing to you in bed, or maybe it was a song that your dad liked to play on guitar and these are going to evoke things. And these are, good things to explore. But yeah, I would say anyone that's practicing Baden would do well to consider taking up a musical instrument. If you're not sure where to start, easy place, get yourself a nylon string acoustic guitar. Beautiful. Steel string guitar, they're beautiful as well, but for some people who haven't got the finger strength built up, and yeah, they can be quite challenging because some of the songs you want to play will be hard to get all the sounds nice and clean. Make sure you chop the fingernails off your left hand. You need to get rid of all them fingernails on the left hand. Forget the right hand, definitely the left hand. They no fingernails, they'll just get in the way. Sorry, ladies and guys. Some of you guys like to have long fingernails. But yeah, nylon string, like a classical type guitar, doesn't it? And they're cheap. Like seriously, if you're like a magus on a budget, you can get yourself a nice nylon string guitar for, I don't know, maybe like $50 US, or 80 to $100 New Zealand. You can get yourself something that's functional. Remember, you're getting an instrument. You're not buying a toy here, because you want it to be pleasing in its sound. So these are valuable skills because they translate over to your practice. Because when you actually, I'll just grab my guitar and I'll give you a quick insight. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me. You'll be able to hear the guitar okay. All right. So check this out. I'll just bring the microphone a bit closer. So this is a pretty standard kind of if I was going to say, teach some kids guitar. One of the most important things to teach them is not where to put the finger and how to make the sound. That's obviously part of it. But also to teach them how to listen to what they're doing so that they can judge and gauge for themselves the quality of what they're producing. Because anyone go, la, 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 look at me, I'm doing the thing. Aren't I awesome? Yeah, but it doesn't sound good and it's not nice to listen to. So what I would do is, and, I got taught this by a guy who was a good teacher. He wasn't an amazing teacher, but it was like he used to teach kids as a primary school teacher, and he understood. And so what we would do is that we'd show the kids how to play a really simple chord, and maybe like a 3-fingered open chord, because we taught them all open chords. We didn't go for bar chords, not for little fingers. And remember, we're on a nylon string guitar, and a nylon string guitar has a slightly wider neck because the strings are a bit thicker, but they're much easier to hold the strings down because they're nylon, they're not steel. And it also creates a very soft, round tone. So if you make a mistake, it won't, it won't sound that bad. And it's a lower volume. And they're also a lot cheaper. So if the kids dropped it or it got pinched or they broke it or whatever, it wasn't such a big deal to get it fixed or replaced. One of these ones, a couple of $300 to get a replacement at a basic level. So anyway, what I'd do is that we'd show them how to play a chord. Probably an easy one like an A or an E. An E minor is a good one. I'd call this one the Spider-Man chord because Spider-Man would shoot his... So we'd teach them a body mechanic. Oh, I don't want to do that symbol, man. There's a whole other conversation. But anyway, the Spider-Man chord, because they all knew who Spider-Man was. So they knew how to make the thing, shoot the web. And then we'd do that, right? And then we'd say, okay, now it's only 2 fingers and they're strong fingers. Like this finger is not very strong. We wouldn't really engage the pinky at all. We don't use the thumb. And, these 2 fingers are generally, they're strong enough. Okay, hold down the note. And then I'd get them with their thumb, not with a pick. The less things between you and the job you're trying to do, the better. And so what I would do is I would get them to, check this out. Okay, all right, guys. So I'm going to pretend that you guys are my class. Okay, so we're holding down our Spider-Man chord. We're not touching the other strings. We've got the string at the top. We're only holding down the 2 strings we're touching. And we'll go through and we'll make sure there's a gap between our hand and the bottom. Okay, and we'd set all these little preconditions up because we want them to experience success. This is completely transferable to when you're doing the Hermetic training or the Qigong or your Tai Chi or whatever it is, your Reiki practice, whatever it is. And then I'd get them to play each note and I'd get them to listen. And maybe I'd get them to put their ear against the guitar or get really close to it and pay attention, because you want to get them to focus, because a lot of them are coming in wanting to be rock stars, but before they can become rock stars, they need to be able to play a song, and they want to be able to play it well, and it's much more professionally satisfying as someone who for someone to output high, students who can hear and listen, because then they will learn to hear and listen in other parts of their lives. This is why all children would do well to learn a musical instrument, even a basic one, because they can learn to concentrate. That one's going to ring by itself. Beautiful. How does it sound, everyone? Does it sound good? This is me talking to the class. Sounds good. Yeah, it's nice and clean. How about now? Oh, it's because my finger's touching it. Nope, move that down. I'd play the next string. It's making a dead sound, Phil. I get the kids to call me Phil. They never had to call me Mr. Rice or anything like that. Oh, listen to that. Isn't that good? Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, tick. Next one. Nice and clean. All right. Oh, that last one. Oh, remember, guys, we had to keep a gap at the bottom so we don't touch that bottom string with our palm. Cool. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to run our fingernail with a bendy finger, not a stiff finger and not a too floppy one, but just biotensegrity, for those who know. And then you get all of the tones coming through. It's nice and clean. Whereas if I just show them where to put their fingers, put them there, sweet as, okay. And then just start strumming. They're not paying attention to all the subtleties and the nuance of it. They're just doing the thing. They're essentially performing a hollow skill in a sense. They're not really paying attention to detail and the nuance. And these are the best practices for at an early stage of development that they will hold on to moving forward, because you don't want to have to come back and do this stuff later, because these are the kinds of habits that can prevent them from having a meaningful and enjoyable experience later on. Some people, they can jump between the chords and they can do all sorts of fancy things, but half the notes aren't coming out, but they know where to put their fingers. It's really important. And this is, like I said, completely translatable to our meditation, Hermetics, Qigong, whatever practice. We're aiming to become skillful, and that involves paying attention to detail and nuance, and taking care in our approach to this, because the gains are much sweeter, the fruits far more delicious. One bad note. Okay, we want nice, clean. So this is a bit of my musical analogy with Hermetic training. So yeah, hopefully that was some value to you all. And I think too that, whatever it is, and say in the Barden system that you're practicing, you may be practicing single-pointed concentration, right? Now, there's ways to increase the weights that you're lifting, training under load. You might go, like when I first started practicing meditation, and it hasn't changed, to be fair. We had a couple of years off it, but basically there's construction going on all around here at the moment, because we've got this population condensing going on, where they've relaxed all the building regulations so that people can just sell their house, and then they'll put 6, 10, 20 houses up. And so we're having this it's regardless of all that. Anyway, but all this construction's going on all the time. And if you can sit there and just watch your thoughts and clear mind or focus, all of these separate practices in a challenging environment, well done you. But you don't need to make it unnecessarily harder for yourself. You want to experience success. And so, tranquility and disturbance, that can come a bit later if you've got that option. If you don't, well, you'll be able to figure it out. But it's just being creative with your approach. And if you are doing, if you're engaged in parallel complementary activities that sort of you can draw parallels, right? So you could do initiation hermetics on a guitar, or you could use initiation hermetics to train yourself on guitar. What's an example of this? Let's see. So, if I was going to play, if I was going to say, right, I'm going to practice some fire element on guitar. Now, this is not the right guitar I would practice my fire element on, but it doesn't mean I can't. This is not the right pick for this job. I want to be, I want to be shredding it, like, I want to be going wild and practicing fire, like, let's go, or whatever. But a water approach might be. The nature of what you're playing, the expression of the music is related to the water element. The air approach might be much more it might be like sweep picking, which is, more mechanical rather than feel, but you can add feel into it. There's lots of ways of approaching this. Earth element approach might be just playing very standard chord changes, or tuning the strings so you're doing like one finger things, or just hanging on one chord. And so there's ways of bringing those elemental analogies into whatever it is you're doing. If you break down your life, your day, into these activities, then, finding a way to sort of see, oh, well, that might be, hanging out with people and being social might be water element. Doing some reading is air element. Going for a run is fire element. Maybe getting the housework done, or sitting still, or doing my taxes is probably it's a bit of air element, that one. But yeah, that's earth element. Systems, and that the earth element's a bit more expansive, I guess. But starting to categorize things that you do. But yeah, anyway, I wander off. This using the the Hermetic process for your instrument training, or using instrument training to help you with your Hermetic process, because you're going to learn how to concentrate. And also you're putting feeling into it as well, with music. If you can, and this is a thing, it's easy to play mechanical music. You can download tabs off the net and play them, but it's when you can put those sweet, sweet, soft touches and tones, and it's delicious, absolutely delicious. And, you'll impress yourself and your friends, whether you want to do that or not. It's up to you. But yeah, so, I just want to say thanks, everyone. I've got I think the software is going to close down in about 10 minutes, so I'll just hang out for the end of that. This free version, it was funny, even when I had the paid version of it, it would still cut off at 2 hours. It's strange. But this is me on a Friday afternoon. You guys are probably all finishing work or getting ready for bed or whatever's going on. What is the time in LA? In LA, it's 10 to 9. I'll just pull that out of the way a bit. My friends in the UK will probably be getting up soon to do their training. It's the afternoon in Brisbane. Oh, yeah. This is a lot of fun, guys. I really enjoy just hanging out. I get to sort of ply all my various life experiences and whatever comes through the chat. I mean, generally speaking, the channel revolves around meditation, in Qigong, basically, Hermetics and Qigong, if I really just boil it right down, energetics training and meditation, which is a very broad sweeping term, magic. Don't really talk a lot about, even though I've got Kabbalah in there, it's not what the majority of people think. It's more to do with Barton's system of Kabbalah and the doors that approach to that, what that word means, or letter magic, if you will. And yeah, I think as this channel kind of continues to evolve, I'll just start pulling on more memories of skills and things from other parts of my life. I used to work a lot with numbers. I used to be a parts guy, dealing with lots of things, like lots of bits and pieces, and they all had identifying numbers. And so I used to be really good at remembering phone numbers before, if you believe it or not, prior to the world of cell phones, when we had landlines only, we would have to remember phone numbers. This is before we had digital phones. I remember having like a dial phone. And you had to remember, you'd have a phone book and you'd have I remember when we had like 6-digit phone numbers here in New Zealand. The good old days. But, all of these things can help you develop your ability to access these forgotten or concealed parts of yourself, or these parts that are seeking to be rediscovered. I'd like to think that. I think that these skill sets that we develop through the processes, we've forgotten them on purpose. We're leading a very filtered experience here. We have to, if we showed up here like with all cylinders firing without the maturity, because part of the process of developing these is that we refine ourselves along the way. Because if any of you guys have done like any of the elemental training stuff, and that you've got some personality quirks or spikes in your personality that need to be attended to, when you do the elemental training, gee whiz, they can get ugly fast. And it's not just you that pays the price; it's the people around you. And you can, man, I tell you what, throughout my life, I have lost some friends that I wish I hadn't have lost. And some of those relationships may never be recoverable. This is way prior to me doing any of this stuff. This is just me being a bit cocky and seeing how other people manage things and just copying how other people behaved and that, because I thought, well, if they're doing it, that must be okay. But, if you've got, even if you are like, a bit older and a bit wiser, so you just, you get into this elemental training and those things, some of those old things, if they're, some things happen a lot more than others. There's a frequency of like these quirks in our personalities that they just arise from time to time when the conditions are right. What you can do is you can actually push the envelope a bit when you start doing things with the element training, especially the element breathing, the pore breathing, and it can bring these things out. It can present you, because what it's doing is it's just showing you, it's like, all right, it's just fueling some of those quirks and spiky bits, those less desirable aspects of your personality that are just sitting underneath the surface, but they're there. You haven't cleaned house enough. They're going to make themselves known. The energy is going to express through the path of least resistance, and sometimes those are bits about yourself that you don't like, or you want to change. So, but learning how to concentrate is, it's a very valuable skill, because you'll be able to keep those things that are trying to grab your attention. You can hold them at bay. That's kind of like the first exercise. You're learning to observe the environment, so you create a gap between you and the thoughts that are arising, so you don't instantly grab it and run with it, and or it just grabs you. It's a reaction versus measured response or calculated response or whatever it is. And then, of course, the second one, we're learning how to single point concentration, where it's this thing and nothing else. Nothing else gets in. There's this thing. I'm focusing on this thing. I'm going to put this guitar pick. I'm going to put it over there. I'm just going to stare at it. Or I'm going to close my eyes and bring it into my awareness and start forming a visual concentration object, mind's eye visual concentration object. And then we move to vacancy of mind, where we push everything aside. So you take that first exercise, which gives you access to being aware of the space and all the busyness and all the stuff going on, all the thoughts orbiting your mental body, or however you want to frame it. And then you learn how to pick one and just hold it. Everything else gets pushed aside, or there's no space for it. It's just this thing and nothing else. And then the third exercise is everything gets pushed aside, or everything is just spread out, and so your mental space starts to expand. So, you can do that with a sound on a guitar too. You can play one single sound and just observe it. Like Tibetan bowls. All right. A Tibetan bowl has a long decay. You whack it, or a bell, ding, and it recedes and decays and declines. And you listen to it and it follows, and you follow it as it leads your attention into stillness, because it goes around there. Right, which is essentially the opposite of what we're doing with training Key to the True Kabbalah, which we start off at the quiet and then we bring it into the reality. It's almost like it gets louder because it starts in the mental body, and then we add it to the breath, and we start to bring it into reality, and then we vocalize it. And so there's a journey from stillness to sound, and from sound to stillness, path of manifestation and path of return. And my gosh, you can have some very interesting experiences. And, the way you can use things to help lead they're training tools and aids and things. Well, the stream is going to cut off shortly, guys. And this is probably a good time. It's been a couple hours. Whew. Got a bunch of stuff to do. It's Friday evening. And, I just want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. It's really great to hang out with everyone, and to anyone who's watching this after the live, I appreciate you too. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be able to be on here and share what I can to help you out, whatever it is you're doing and however you're doing it. This channel ends up going far beyond the scope of Hermetics and Kabbalah, magic, and these types of things. Really, I'm just a guy doing stuff. Figuring things out, staying on top of things best I can, working on myself, discovering the joy and helping others, and that's the truth. I've always been in customer service in one form or another. Now I'm a teacher. I was a music teacher and hanging out with kids. And I have to say, when you see a kid pick up a guitar, they can't play it, and then they start experiencing success, and you see that look in their eye, and they get all excited, and then they've found their thing, and they're off to the races, man, I tell you. It's very, very satisfying. It does come with a lot of music teaching comes with a lot of other challenges too. But, I think for myself, the highlights were definitely seeing the kids go through transformative process. And seeing them realize, going from not being able to do something to doing something, and then perhaps even being able to do it very well. But anyway, I'm going to leave you guys there. Thank you. Please remember, check out philrice.substack.com for just a coffee a month. You can hook a brother up. I need about another 10 people on there, and I paying people $5 a month. Come on, y'all. And I can get the streaming software upgrade, and I can get rid of this thing. This logo here and animation, and I can add more graphics and things. That'd be easy and fun, wouldn't it? $5 a month. Whew. That's $5 New Zealand. In the US, that'd be like $4, $3 maybe. Anyway, thanks, guys. I'll see you later, eh? We'll talk again.